Oh, don't even get me started on that, bro. Club fees. Yeah. Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome in. It is July 1st, 2024 to the JJ and Pug Show. We are now a full 7 months in, dude.
That is insane.
I'm feeling proud of us.
I am too. I mean, I don't know how our how is our downloads and stuff are they?
I know the same. We stayed like
pretty consistent.
Very consistent.
Nobody important yet listening to give us a sponsorship or something. But I mean, Joe Rogan hasn't keyed in yet. But it's
no,
fine.
Not yet.
It's fine.
Speaking of which, recording from the Highland Communities podcast studio.
There you go.
Just make sure we get that in there. I mean, we got a few, but it's nothing big. I mean,
it's fine.
I think our South Australia and Adelaide person is kind of falling off the table. I haven't seen them in a minute.
I don't know. Oh, no, it was Austria. I thought it was Australia.
It was Australia.
That just beat the U.S. football team. Did you see this nonsense?
Wait, no, what?
The USA has lost to Japan in regular tackle football.
How was that possible?
And they just lost either Austria or Australia. For the gold, bronze medal. I'm like,
wait a minute.
I'm not kidding. It's been all over, bro. I'm not kidding.
We're the only country that freaking plays the sport.
That's what I'm saying.
Sport.
I'm like, obviously, these aren't NFL players playing against these people.
Yeah, but even if they're collegiate players.
Yeah, if they're D2 college players, I feel like you're going to be better than somebody playing in Austria or whatever. But nope. Japan beat us, bro.
No way.
I have never seen a jacked enough Japanese guy. I've never seen a guy who's Japanese look like Ray Lewis.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
I've seen some
Shohei Ohtani.
I've seen some like Bruce Lee type jacked, right? Thin martial art guy, sure. But I haven't seen a walking fridge of a guy unless they're sumo wrestlers, right?
Yeah. But I'm actually looking this up. I don't even know what to look up. International Federation of American Football. That sounds so freaking fake.
It's not.
That sounds so fake. I want to know who's on the roster.
Japan versus AZ football, bro. Just search it.
Oh, Arizona?
No, I'm sorry. USA football.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I'm just looking up here, just the International Federation of American Football. By the way, this is totally just sprung on me. I had no idea. Yeah. It looks like Canada to 3P in a IFAF Under-20 World Championship win over Japan. What?
Team USA inexplicably loses to Japan in American football, bro.
Dude, what?
I'm like, are they playing freshmen in high school? Like, I don't understand. Like, how do we lose?
Austria becomes first European team to win World Juniors medal. Okay. But even still, like, what? That is a level of WTF I was not expecting for 5 seconds into the show, dude.
Yeah,
You've totally thrown me, dude. I didn't even know this was
you said Australia. My mind went there, and that's what I remember seeing. It was Austria or Australia, but it was Austria. But yeah, dude.
In our own game, that'd be like China taking 5th place in ping pong. You know what I mean? Like, right. I mean, I don't know if that's their national sport, but it certainly seems like it. Yeah. I mean, I've seen Tom Hanks play. Oh my gosh, why can't I
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. I kept wanting to say free. I'm like, no, it's Forrest Gump. I mean, I know how good they are at that game, right? I mean, that's what they do.
I'm not a smart man, Jenny.
Jenny. Dude, honestly, when you go back and like the history of cinematic females, Jenny's got to be the worst.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Like, terrible chick.
Oh my gosh.
Totally
just
mean. I'm like, dude, how do you treat a guy like that? Oh, 100%. And it's so terrible. And then he still goes back.
Oh, I know.
And he's still typical man, though.
Yeah.
Right, dude?
Oh, yeah.
Once we fall for a chick, we will do anything for them, no matter how bad they treat you like crap. And then here we are.
And here's my statement that I make to my wife all the time. Listen, a guy will put up with an inordinate amount of crap as long as she's putting out.
That 100%.
And Jenny finally did.
and he sealed the deal, but he knocked her up. Dude.
Got a kid, dude. Oh, man.
Committed.
What a good movie, though.
It was a great movie.
Really great movie. Anybody who hasn't seen that movie, anytime I say that, I'm like, you haven't seen Forrest Gump?
Dude, it's on. We watch it all the time. If it's on TV,
pick it up any minute.
And that's not a good movie. Or no, that's a good movie. That's a good movie.
At any moment, if that movie's on, you can sit down and watch it at any moment. It's amazing. That's one of those movies I think is really cool. In fact, I'm almost positive Robert Zemeckis is the guy that directed it. He's also the Back to the Future director.
Okay.
He's coming out with a new movie also with Robin Wright, who is from Forrest Gump, and Tom Hanks from Forrest Gump. And it's going to be this movie all about time. And from the preview, it looks like it's all shot from one angle of one house.
Really?
Like all the way back from like dinosaurs to the end of this. Anyway, it looks really interesting. I'm kind of dubious as to the fact that am I going to like watching a movie shot from one angle the entire time?
It's going to be weird.
It's going to be weird. But the preview
Well, it's going to be
look-
Napoleon Dynamite, essentially, right? They moved angles, but every scene was never moved. Like they didn't have. They only had one camera.
Yeah, maybe two.
Yeah, maybe. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like the time when he's getting ready to jump the bike. Sweet.
And the first time he jumps it, it's fine. The second time they move the bricks out, and you kind of like.
Oh my
so
gosh.
classic.
Dynamite.
Takes you right back to the grade school.
2003, 2004, something like that.
Maybe
dude?
even before that,
Just
dude. Like
hits the spot.
99, 2000.
No, it was definitely when I was in high
the
school.
movie.
The movie.
Yes, I'm talking about jumping your bike.
Oh,
in the
jumping my bike. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm talking about putting the bricks on the board and sending it and feeling like you're 3 feet in the air and you're probably 6 inches off the
or
ground.
being scared that board's going to snap in half as soon as you hit it.
That's living, dude. These kids don't understand that now, dude.
That's living. Oh, I love it. All right, well, that was we just went a whole circle around of things. I don't even know how we got onto Forrest Gump or.
I was going to say something about Forrest Gump too. I forgot now, dude.
Anyway, if you haven't seen it, guys,
It's a
that
great
right there,
movie.
that may be one of the first movies we do our way too late movie reviews of.
No, that was a great movie.
It was. Like I said,
just
start
classic.
to finish.
Yeah, and it's got a good message. It's got, everything about it's good, right? Except for Jenny.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's almost like the yin and yang of movies. Let's follow this guy who you can't help but root for and love the entire time. Right. And then the yang of what does he see in her other than she's pretty and she was nice to him when they were babies?
The first girl to talk to her. That's yes. Got him right away.
I mean, if that like you said, if that does not explain the way that men look at women, like the very first woman to be nice and talk to you, the first pretty girl to do that.
He chased her his entire life.
And she will be forefront of your mind
and then she
life.
Married for money.
Oh, yeah.
She got 100%. Smart. She's living in an apartment with a kid.
Well, did she marry?
Forrest
did they get married in the end? Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know Forrest.
Remember? They get married and then she dies like right afterwards.
No, that's true. I do remember her dying.
Because Lieutenant Dane shows up with his new legs. Lieutenant Dane, you got new legs.
Dude, I love that movie.
Oh, it's so good.
It really is. I remember the very first time I was watching it, and this was, I think the movie came out in 93 or 94, something like that. I think it was 94. So I was a little kid. And when Jenny gets up on stage to play to sing, and she's naked. I mean, it's a PG-13 movie, so remember, you don't see much. You do see her butt. And I remember 94. Hey, I was right, baby. 1994. I remember I'm sitting down and I'm watching this, and my brothers, when she comes out on stage, like, oh, no, like totally cover my eyes. And I was like, oh, that's a butt. Like, it was like 6-year-old me was like, or 8-year-old me was like, whoa.
We have such different childhoods.
I know. Very different. There was a couple moments in that movie where my brothers had to cover my eyes. But
I grew up watching like Freddy Krueger and Jaws and all kinds of crazy dumb stuff. I don't even know why. Chucky, dude, I'm still to this day terrified of Child's Play.
Screw freaking dolls, man. In all their forms.
I refuse to have, like, my kids don't have a redheaded doll in the house because of that freaking movie. Dude. I'm telling you, it was terrifying.
Have you ever seen, when we talked about this, you watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right?
Oh, yeah.
You remember when Ava Longoria is like a guest on the show and she's the girlfriend of Jake? Anyway, they go up upstate in New York, and I can't remember what the reason was for, but they're going to go and they stay at this little bed and breakfast. And they get the room that's like the creepiest room, and it's the doll room.
Oh, so you know.
And they're like, yeah, this is even too creepy for me. Like, they can't even do anything. It's too creepy.
I just can't. Ugh, dolls.
All right, well, so I wanted to let everybody know we've got a whole lot. I've got a whole lot. I'm not sure if you looked at the list here.
I did, and it's gonna be. So we're gonna talk about. So what's crazy is maybe next I don't know when we're gonna do this again because of the week's just the 4th of July.
It's a hard week.
It is a tough week, and I'm going out of town. So
when are you leaving?
Wednesday afternoon. Probably.
Where are we headed? Just up north.
Okay, yeah, because they're doing the 4th on the 4th.
Yeah.
So and then I'm coming back Friday because I have a thing I got to do. I got to help out with a funeral thing on Saturday. So and I'm working. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go up, come back. I might take I don't know if Jana may stay longer, but I gotta I'm gonna take the Harley up and just have a nice little ride up. But
I thought about getting out of town for the 4th, and honestly, I tried. But last week I was gone most all of the week, doing a camp out with a bunch of young men for the church activity. And when I got home, I'm like, I gotta get back to work. Yeah. I can't be gone, and it's just a bummer because if there's one thing I want to experience, it's the 4th of July away from Phoenix.
Oh, you've never done that?
No, because
I'll tell you,
going up north, I never wanted that out of the traffic.
No, I know, especially that way through Payson. But I'm telling you, if you go up through Globe, even on the worst holidays, going up through Globe is not bad.
You know, that's the only way I go up there, right?
Globe?
Yeah, I never go through Payson.
Dude, I don't go through Payson at all. We don't do it. Like people get stuck at that stupid turn.
87 to 260.
I'm like, nope. We'll make it home normal time. Like sometimes, dude, on like a 4th of July holiday, I bet you there's nobody that goes up that way.
Especially now they got all that construction going on.
Heber is doing their fireworks on Saturday.
Oh, why?
Mm-hmm. I don't know, because it's a small town and
screw that.
People can come up for it because it's like that tweener town.
How un-American is that? To do 4th of July on the 6th of July?
But what'll happen is they'll get more out of it because Sholo's doing theirs on the 4th, and then everybody will go to Heber to do so they're going to make more out of it. And dude, Heber's is cool. I mean, Sholo's is legit. That's home, right? Like, so they do it over the football field, and you're literally laying underneath them, going right over the top of you. That's awesome.
Cool. That's cool.
But Heber's is cool because they do it over their baseball or football field, and it's in a canyon, so it echoes like all over the place. It's super cool.
I will say this: I've done it one time, I think, and I remember the traffic in Heber was so bad that I'm like, I'm never doing this again, ever.
We grew up there, so we would go early, and we know our ways around. You can take back roads all over to get right back to Sholo on the forest roads and stuff. So that's a little different, but I wouldn't do it now. I don't, because the highway patrol shuts the road down completely, especially when you come into Sholo. Is the same way. Like if you ain't in town by 8:30, you're gonna have to find your way around Sholo.
Dude, I'm not dealing
They're
with
gonna
that.
detour all around, but small town. I want to go. So my sister's moving to Tennessee, and this will be her last 4th here. I'm like, dude, it'd be cool to go to Tennessee for the 4th. I want to see what that's like over a lake with like green rolling hills and stuff.
Where at in Tennessee?
I knew you'd ask me, bro.
I know I asked you last time.
She just told me, and I can't remember the name because it's like a weird, it's weird names,
don't worry.
dude.
I couldn't remember Forrest Gump.
If you fly into Nashville, it's about 3.5 hours from there. And it's
which direction?
I don't even know.
Because it sounds like you should probably fly into Knoxville or Memphis instead.
Knoxville is more expensive. It's 40 minutes from Knoxville, but it's like she said, it's way more expensive to fly into Knoxville because it's a smaller airport.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm like, well, I would probably fly into Knoxville anyway if I was going to go because I don't want to drive through. Actually, I don't know because Tennessee driving through 3 hours. I've never been to Tennessee. It might be worth a trip.
No, dude, it'd be nice to see it. I'll tell you that right now. Because the thing about Tennessee that's awesome is from the west to the east, it changes a lot.
Really?
You go from the west, which is Memphis, which is more swampish. Very kind of low. It's slight hills, no mountains to speak of, right? You're right up against the Mississippi River. It's totally different. By the time you get to Nashville, you've been starting to crawl some hills and going up over some, getting closer to the Smokies, the mountains.
Yeah.
And it's a total change. It's a total change in the type of trees you see.
And that's
still
they're
crazy
by the Smoky
green.
Mountains. I know that.
So
it's like a town. She referenced it's like 3 towns that are close together, and she said it's like Sholo, Pine Top Lakes, like that kind of, or Sholo, Pine Top, and Snowflake, that kind of area.
That triangle type thing, yeah.
Because her husband's dad lives there right now.
I got a friend from high school who lives in Knoxville, and he swears by it. He thinks it's the greatest thing in the world. So they left here. They lived here in Queen Creek, and he got a job. I want to say it was a job with some government agency. I can't remember what it was. It was basically he was going to be a contractor for the government, right? And until the job came, they were like, "Hey, let's do this. Let's sell the house. We'll buy an RV and we'll travel the country until the job comes through." Because he was like, "It's just a waiting game," and they had the ability to do so, so they did. Started traveling the country, got to Knoxville, and said, "Screw the job. We're staying here.
Yeah,
this is where we're going to live."
Really?
Yeah, and I think he got a new job with as a government contractor there in Knoxville, and it's the greatest place in the world. It's beautiful.
So we were talking about this at work, and I'm like talking about in Tennessee and stuff, and I'm like, they start bringing up this like, yeah, but you know what kind of bugs they have there, you know what kind of thing, and I'm like, that's what in Arizona we're pretty lucky, right? Because it's so hot in Phoenix that our bug, we get flies for a little bit, but now I haven't seen a fly in a long time because they're gone, like it's just too dang hot for anything, and in the wintertime it's too cold, like it's just cold enough for them not to be around, so we've got it pretty good.
I know people always talk about the scorpions. Bro, I lived here my entire life. I think I have seen 3 live scorpions.
Oh, dude, what? Are you kidding me?
Not kidding.
You know, Lexi got stung by one where she had to be she almost had to be put in ICU.
Dude, that's insane.
She was Rhea's age, bro.
Wow.
Actually, she might have been a little younger only because she couldn't talk as well. So I think she was probably like 2.5.
Wow.
So she came out of the playroom and said, like, my finger hurts, and I'm like, okay, you smashed your finger, like you're cool. And then, dude, over the next 10 minutes, her demeanor, everything about her started shutting down. She couldn't walk right. She was walking like she was.
Dang, dude.
The only way to put it is she was walking like she was high on heroin, and where she was stumbling over. Her legs were crossed together trying to walk. It looked like she was high, like a tweaker on the road, right? Like some kind of crackhead. And we're like, what is going on? I mean, she was potty training. So we were like, does she have to go to the bathroom? Doing all this stuff. And then finally, Gianna was like, do you think she got stung by a scorpion? And I'm like, get in the car now. Let's go. Like, I didn't even want to play it because this is gone. So by the time I was blowing red lights, bro. I was making sure it was clear going because there was a hospital on Power and Ray, one. Yeah. They had an antivenom. So we roll into the ER. I run out there. And by the time we get there, I pick her up. Her eyes are rolling in the back of her head.
Dang, dude.
She's having she's full on just not there. As soon as I roll in, I'm like, I don't know what happened. I think she got stung by a scorpion. And the doctor comes out and goes, that's a scorpion bite. Let's go. Bring her back. 6 hours later, she's completely fine. But we had to sign a bunch of waivers because at the time, the antivenom wasn't FDA regulated. So they were like, hey, look, we're going to give this. It's good, but it's not approved, whatever. So I'm like, I don't care, bro. Whatever it takes, just get her normal.
Yeah.
And we got in there at like 5, 6 o'clock. And by midnight, we got released. Like she was good to go. But it was crazy. So I go out and after that, they were like, okay, so I'm going to go look, black light. Bro, I have never seen, I didn't know that they were so bad at the house I was at. My back wall was covered. Yeah. Like I'm talking like more than 30 the first night I went out. And then every night I would go out, it would get less and less, right? You out. And what's funny is that's how I met one of my neighbors because he was outside doing the same thing, killing stuff on his wall. And then so I start using a blowtorch and just lighting them on fire, dude. Like, you ain't coming back. Like, I don't care, you know? But oh yeah, dude, and then so I've seen a few at my house here, but I've been stung in the foot at that old house too. And that was weird. Like from my knee down was completely numb.
Dude,
and for the first
have like a genetic predisposition.
So what's funny is there's some people like, so I talked to after getting stung and my kid, some people can get stung and they don't have like Jana, she got stung in the neck. She had to put a shirt on and there was one on the shirt and she got stung. She was fine. Like, I mean, it hurt, but she was fine. Right. I was like, dude, my leg was like it was like every other heartbeat. It was like shocking pain for the first like 6 hours.
Whoa.
So I called poison control and I'm like, they're like, it's going to get worse, but then it'll get better. Like, you know, as long as you can breathe and all that stuff, try to keep it elevated. But it's, you know, the next 6 hours it's going to get progressively worse and then it'll die. And she was not wrong. Dude. And so yeah. And then the next day, like I couldn't feel, like I was riding a motorcycle at the time. I couldn't feel the brake pedal because it was like trying to, you know, use the brake. I'm like, dude, this is not, thank God I got a front brake. So, so yeah, so I've been stung. And then, so I had a dog. Remember Taser? The boxer that died.
Yeah.
So she saw all this happen, dude. And I swear to you, she's the smartest dog I've ever seen. Lexi was in the hospital for kidney stones. This kid's been a walking medical problem, bro. So, so she's in a kidney infection, right? She's like 3 or 4 now and she's in the hospital. So I go home to take care of the dogs and I have a video on my phone. I'll have to show you, but she's like pawing at the floor. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know, and I'm watching her and she's like actively pawing at the floor in the kitchen. She killed a scorpion.
Good for her, dude.
I was like, dude, this is the best dog ever.
Dude. Okay.
I'm like, and I videotaped it. I have it all on video. It comes up every year, you know, with the memory. Like, my freaking dog just killed a scorpion in my house with its paw. I'm like, dude, seriously. And then that dog died.
Don't you just love dogs?
Dude, I was just talking to Chalet about it because your kids are, you guys have lost a dog, right?
Yeah.
But they were a little younger.
Yeah.
Maybe did they understand it yet, like fully?
No. I mean, here's the thing. Oh, yeah. So we've had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've had 6 dogs, right?
Yeah.
The first dog Shalane and I got was almost right after we got married, and that was like our first child. Because you know that's what it is. So, dude, and holy crap, dude, when we had to put that dog down, it was
the worst.
It was so much more emotional than I ever thought possible. Right. It was heartbreaking.
Were your kids around then, or was that just you?
They were. I think the twins were 4. Rayo was probably just barely born, and they remember the dog. The twins remember the dog.
Yeah.
I mean, and so of course with pictures that pop up on the
right, of course,
things and they see it. And so my daughter Kempsey will constantly say about like, oh, when we die and go to heaven, we'll have Randy, right? That was the dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
There's a movie, All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Exactly. Which is funny. When was the last time you saw that movie?
Bro, I'll watch it if it's on.
Real bad message for kids.
Oh, yeah, I haven't paid attention. It's like that Oliver and Company. All those messages are.
Oh yeah.
Check it out.
It needs torture. Chain me to the wall. I love that. But I still love the movies.
Right,
I still love the movies.
A lot of those shows though from the 90s have now as an adult you're like, I can't believe.
Whoa.
Dude, Step by Step. You remember that show?
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Constant sexual
You're like,
innuendo.
holy crap, dude. But
stuff that totally goes over the head as a child.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Dude, TGIF, all those shows have got it, and I didn't recognize any of it.
Nope, you were just happy they were on TV.
Just happy it's Friday night,
yeah,
baby.
Friday night.
For a guy that didn't have cable growing up, that was like the night for TV.
Heck yeah.
But so anyway, so when Randy died, and then I had a dog. I say this, because this dog, we ended up getting through a series of unfortunate circumstances for this poor dog. I ended up taking it in and be like, hey, dude, was the dog? I'm like, you can come get her if you want, but I'm going to take her. And she became my dog. And I say she was my dog because Shalane never wanted her from the beginning.
Yeah.
And she was a big, territorial, shedding dog, which was not Shalane's thing. No. But dude, she was the sweetest thing. She was such a good dog for me. 100%. If I took that dog camping, the best camping dog I've ever had in my life, right? She'd jump in the back of the truck and be ready to go the minute the tailgate went down, right? And unfortunately for her, like so our first dog, Randy, Penny was my dog. She and Randy had a hard time getting away from the very beginning. And then it got to the point where we ended up getting a puppy after Randy died, and Penny basically killed the dog. It was one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm the boss here, and it got a little too far.
Dominant,
yeah, it got a little too far. And then with Rhea being super young, I'm like, I don't want to. She's never shown any aggression towards a human. I don't want to take the risk.
Case. Yeah, of course.
Don't want to take the risk, and we had to put her down. So but now the two dogs we have now are freaking awesome. I love them.
So that's one of the hardest things was like, so we lost our Shih Tzu. It was our first family dog. We got her when Allie was probably 9 months old, and she lasted until she was about 12. And dude, I'll never forget. I called my mom. I'm in tears. Like, we went to the vet because she'd had some tumors come out of her like backside, and we were like, "What's wrong? Take her in." The vet's like, "She's got tumors all the way up. Like, we can't. You need to put her down."
Almost exactly the same story.
So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So like at this point now, I'm like, I didn't even this dog. It was dude. She was a female dog, right? For me, like the definition, bro. But my kids loved her, and I didn't care. I mean, obviously it was a family dog, so I cared, but I was more torn up because I had to tell them. Like, they were at friend's house, I had to go pick them up, and I'm like, hey, look, we got to go because Zoe, we have to put her down. And you see that emotion on their face for the first time as a dad, like when you really see them processing grief. Because at the time, my mom hadn't died, my dad hadn't died, they'd never lost any grandparents, like nobody really died yet, and now they're losing their dog, and it was, dude, the
dog they've grown up with.
Yeah, and I've called my mom, and she's like, "You're just gonna have to tell, like, you just got to suck it up." But I'm like, "But how? How do you suck it up when you know that you're gonna be crying? Because your kids are gonna be emotional,
they're
right?
Heartbroken.
Like, I don't do emotion, but my kids break you down. Like, anybody who's got kids know that your kids it's a whole different level of emotion. So when you got to tell them, yeah, I don't envy you, bro. And I just had it happen. Then I got lose Taser. I lost, and that was, that was like a kid, bro. That dog, oh.
See, that's the thing is we're getting to the point now where my kids are old enough that these dogs we have, they're going to be around for a long time. Fingers crossed. We want them to be around for a long time.
Outside of anything crazy happening.
Exactly. Right? And so when the inevitable happens with those dogs, dude, it's going to kill my kids.
Yeah.
It's going to be so hard,
bro.
And I say that because, okay, and I was going down this whole long story. When I end up getting my dog that I have now, he's my Australian Shepherd Dundee. For all of you Crocodile Dundee fans out there, yes, that is why he has the name. Australian Shepherd Dundee. Fantastic dog. He's great. But I have him because I initially bought his sister, who was the red merle color, which is more like that blonde type, and I wanted a female. I love female dogs.
That's all I've ever had.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I ever wanted, right? Yes.
It took a second, but I got it.
Yeah. So anyway, we take her home from the breeder, and I'm telling the breeder, I'm like, hey, listen, there's something wrong with her. Are you sure she's okay to be away? And they're like, yeah, she's totally fine. She had her shots. So yeah, she's going to have a hard time walking for just a little bit. Dude, the dog died in 2 days.
That's crazy.
And I kept going back to the breeder. I'm like, are you sure? Because there is something wrong with this. This is not jiving. She's not eating. Anyway, very, very, she was the runt of the litter, right? Anyway, she ended up passing away. And my daughter, to this day, will constantly talk about how that's the dog she wants to get when we go to heaven. And I'm like, you had that dog for 2 days. And anyway, so the breeder was like, oh, I can't believe this happened. I'll give you a refund and come and pick from one of the remaining litter. And she only had males left. Yeah. Well, that's how I got my dog. And dude,
Dundee's legit.
He's freaking awesome. Like, I'm super happy about it. Anyway, didn't mean to go down to talking about family dogs and the pain of losing one.
No, it sucks.
It's funny. I think I say this in every episode. I'm always shocked how that when we sit down and we hit the record button, how we can go off about stuff that
random stuff
we weren't planning on talking about. This actually have a full docket of crap that we got to talk about.
So Lexi actually put together a whole like we'll have to do it on another show because we're going to talk about sports tonight. But but it's cool. There's a bunch of questions to ask each other because we don't know the answers to. Because you and I know each other, but we didn't grow up together.
No.
Like, there's a lot of like random little things that she came up with sitting on the couch, and then I also have a bunch of like top 10 things, like top 10 foods in America that we're known for. Just random things that make you, because I want to see what your guesses would be.
Yeah,
right.
As family
some
type thing.
Yeah, like, or like the top sodas and all kinds of stuff. Just I was down our podcast hole, like ideas and things to kind of make the show a little bit more right. Because most of the time we kind of whatever, but it's just fun to have some kind of like not almost a game.
And there's some structure to it.
Yeah, some structure. So it's something we can do later. But this is more. I know you are dying to talk about the NBA draft, and I will tell you.
Not
for this show. It's the first time ever I've watched the NBA draft.
Yes, you did it.
I was at the gym with earbuds in listening to the NBA freaking draft, bro, only to see the Suns blow it.
You think so? Okay, all right. Well, hey, we're going to take a pause right here as we're going to shift. We're going to take a pause real quick. You guys can listen to this little ad real quick, and then we come right back in straight into the NBA draft and offseason. Thank you for taking a break real quick here in the middle of the episode of JJ and Pug Show you are currently listening to, whichever day that may be. We wanted to say thank you again for taking the time to listen to our show, listen to our antics, listen to our takes, and listen to these sometimes ridiculous opinions we come up with, which are 100% organic and truthful and true to ourselves. Having said all of that, you know what you need to do. You need to share this podcast with your friends. Send it to them. Let them know that you're listening. Let them know what you like about it. And most importantly, reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to give us that feedback and let us know the things that you would like for us to talk about. That way we can give you, our fans, the things that you both want and need and improve our show positively each and every single episode. The second thing that you need to do is reach out to us and buy a shirt. Show everyone your support of the JJ and Pug Show by wearing that awesome shirt that we had designed with our amazing logo on there. And that way all your friends will know what the best show to listen to when they got some time to put the headset in and listen to some awesome fun stuff. Again, thank you for everybody for all the support. We're going to get back to the show right about now. All right, here we are. Back to talk about so this is one of the things, guys. I was gone last week and I sent a text to Jason. I was like, hey, are you going to be able to watch the draft? So we got some information to go off. He was like, yeah, I'm going to watch them at the gym. I got this taken care of. And so I am gone. I'm in the mountains.
No PRs were set that day.
So for me, I was kind of like detached to it. I kind of knew what was going on a little bit. And so I tried to do as much research as I could beforehand. But to hear you say that we totally botched it, I am very interested to hear what you have to say about that.
So listen, the Suns have the 22nd overall pick. What do we need right now? More than anything, if you're a Suns fan, I think anybody could agree there's one position where we struggle at.
I don't know that I 1,000% agree with you, but I know exactly what you're going to say, and I have a very hard time countering that with any legitimate argument.
I mean, you could make an argument for some other players. I get it. Or positions.
Positions, yeah.
But the reality is we don't have a floor general at all.
And you're right. And we need one.
You need one. You thought it was going to be Bradley Beal.
We thought Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant could split that role, and it proved that they could
Unless they're – and you know what? And Bradley Beal's a good enough player where maybe they've had some offseason talks, and they're saying, hey, look, you're not a scorer anymore. If you want to win, you're going to have to facilitate. Yeah. That's what we need out of you. And maybe he changes that. But you have the 22nd overall pick, and I'm waiting. You know, you go through all these French guys getting drafted and all this stuff.
Freaking country of France is taking over.
To get to 22 and then say the pick has been traded to the Denver freaking Nuggets, who don't need any help right now. You know, they got beat by a young Minnesota team that nobody expected them to win, but they were pretty much going to the finals.
Oh yeah, no, everybody consensus pick after the end of last season and throughout most of the entire season was the Nuggets were going to return to the NBA Finals. Who's going to play them?
And they did pretty good at following through with that.
Yeah,
outside of one player,
they collapsed
Anthony
in
Edwards.
Game 7.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards going off and just having some. You know, and that proved to be the Timberwolves were kind of young.
Yeah.
They proved that.
They shot up in the ranks. Nobody really saw it coming. I mean, shoot, when the playoffs started, nobody thought the Timberwolves were going to beat the Suns, let alone sweep them. That was not considered to be possible at all. And the Nuggets collapsed in Game 7.
Right. So you give the Nuggets the 22nd overall pick, and in return, you get like number 28 and 55?
Yeah, 28 in a couple seconds.
And something like that, right? It was 1 second. It was just, I'm like, What? Huh? And then you still didn't pick up a point guard.
Nope.
So again, what are we doing? And we just signed Plumlee to a year contract, which a big guy, cool. Like, I mean, he's not a bad player, but I'm like, I kind of feel like we already have that.
So from what I understand, when it comes to, it was Ryan Dunn that we picked, right? Was that his name? Out of Virginia. From what I understand about him is a lot of scouts. First off, this draft was supposed to, like, historically supposed to be average. Like, there's not any one guy at the top of the draft that everyone was super stoked about seeing playing, thinking this guy's going to be a difference maker. But what many people said was, like, the draft overall is average, meaning you can get a good rotational player at really just about any point in this draft, which is awesome because everybody needs rotational players. Nobody thinks that they're awesome until you get to the playoffs and realize we need rotational players. We don't got anybody to come and play.
We need more, yep.
So from what I understand about Ryan Dunn is he is an elite defensive player with absolutely zero offensive game, which is, I mean, the one thing.
What was the number 99's name? The guy I'm thinking of.
Jay
Crowder.
Yeah.
He's a Crowder. There you go.
Yeah. Or Josh Okogie.
Yeah.
But the problem with Josh Okogie was he got to the point where you couldn't play him in the end because they would just leave him open and he would just brick shots.
Yeah. That Crowder would hit a three. You'd have to respect his 3-point
Jay Crowder
game.
was the streakiest shooter in the world.
Yeah.
But dude, when he was hot,
you had to respect it.
You had to respect it. But the thing that drives, I'm a little bit concerned, but at the same time, like, there's one thing that you want out of a guy that's coming in the late 20s or the end of the first round draft, because the NBA draft is such a freaking crapshoot. You never know. Dude, Nikola Jokic was taken in the second round during a commercial break, famously during the Taco Bell commercial break, right?
Yeah.
Ended up to being a 3-time MVP. Insane.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe this guy maybe he develops an offensive game. I don't know. But the one thing that's nice to know is he's coming to the NBA with a discernible elite skill, and that is defense. If you can do that, you can find minutes on a court. But hey, you're not wrong when it says, like, what are we going to do about the point guard? Because we still don't have one. We're 3 days into, the NBA free agency or something like that. Still no point guard.
Klay Thompson's now a Maverick.
Oh, I hate it. I mean, I actually got a whole list of all the guys that have signed right now in the NBA draft. Like, I mean, excuse me, in the what's what I'm talking about? The NBA free agency.
Okay. Before we stop with the draft, though, the draft was good. The draft was, I mean, it was entertaining to say the least. France is doing a great job. Tony Parker's doing a great job in his league of bringing together a team. 3 French guys in the first 10 picks. That's pretty crazy. Like, that's never happened before outside of the U.S. The U.S. is usually the only team to have more than 1 pick in the first top 10.
Yeah,
and France comes in with 3.
Yeah,
that's pretty legit. You got to give them credit where credit's due. And
not to mention the fact that last year the number 1 overall pick was out of France and Victor Wembanyama. So I mean, they
got another dude like that. Like the Spurs picked up somebody else like that again. Like they're playing with him, and they're maybe Chris Paul. I think is going to the Spurs too. I think
he's on the list of guys I want to talk about.
So, but we got to talk real quick before we switch off the draft. Dude, Bronny, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me?
He 100% got selected where he should have been selected. And that was at the end of the second round.
Right. But the freaking Lakers, like, dude, like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I really hope he does for his sake, because I think he wants to be different from his dad. I think that, I got to give him that, hopefully he'll come through and he'll be able to actually prove himself to be more than a 6'1" average player. But at the end there when they were talking about how the agents calling and telling everybody, unless you're the Suns or the Lakers, we don't even pick him. He doesn't want to play for you. He'll go play for overseas somewhere
in Australia.
That's such like a scare tactic or some crap, And then the Lakers, and I get LeBron. I don't like the dude for basketball sake, but I can't imagine the joy.
Imagine how cool that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's a picture going around of LeBron sitting on a bench with Bronny when he was like 3, right, and now he's going to be playing with him. That's freaking cool.
When you take the father-son aspect into consideration,
that's cool.
It's super awesome.
But it's still like, I mean, how many guys, dude, Bronny got drafted, okay? You know who didn't get drafted?
A lot of other dudes.
Particularly the NC State guy that played to get in the semifinals, the big dude, right? The big playing against Zach Edey. Granted, Edey ate him up, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he was still a pretty legit basketball player, and he doesn't go anywhere.
Well, that's why. Remember when I was talking about him at that time? Football coaches were coming up like, dude, you 6'9", 300 pounds with that kind of footwork. Let's get you into left tackle, man.
Seriously, like he might as well at this point. He'll probably make. Well, I don't know if he make more money because the NBA makes a ton of money.
I was going to say, we're about to go over some NBA free agent signing numbers, and it's going to be...
It's pretty crazy.
So. But at the same time, like, what are the chances he actually gets into the NBA to get that contract? Not great.
I'm excited to see that Connecticut kid play, too.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Why can't I remember his name either?
Klingham.
With a K. Yeah. Klingham, yeah. And, and see what Zach Edey does. He number 9 to Memphis.
I cannot tell you how big. Like I know we talked about this, but that is I am not necessarily a small person. He makes me feel like a midget.
Well, dude, a 7'4" guy.
Bro, he's only a foot taller than I am.
A full freaking 12 inches.
But
dude.
his calves are long. His muscles are long. Like from his shoulder to his what is that the ulna? Hold on, with the
bro, you're asking
what is
me
this,
what the muscle is?
What's the bone? The bone that goes. I think it's your ulna. Is it your radius? Is it your wrist? I don't know. From the basically,
dude,
your
you
humerus,
are asking the wrong guy.
It's the humerus. I had to think about it.
Okay,
the length of his humerus from his shoulder, the top of his shoulder down to his elbow, is crazy. It's like your waist to your knee,
dude.
It's so. He's just such a big dude, man.
Yeah, and obviously he can play too. He's a National Basketball Player of the Year 2
Soft
years
touch,
in a row.
Yeah, he didn't even start playing basketball until he was like a sophomore in high school.
Well, dude, when you're that tall,
I know.
I mean, I'm not trying to disregard guys' skill, but there does come a point where you're like, dude, size just takes over.
Height in basketball matters.
Oh yeah, it matters a ton, and
if
especially
you show
if you
up
can
and
move.
If you're a senior and you've never played basketball before, and you're like, hey, I'm 7 foot tall, I think I can play.
Yeah,
they're gonna put you in.
Yeah, you're playing. You're
and some D1 college is gonna be like, hey, we'll take him because in the summertime he'll work every day and he's gonna be, good to go.
Oh a 7-footer, we'll find a way to get that guy in his court. Like you can at least play defense. Like I said, if you can move. Dude, you've got
you have a little bit of lateral movement, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you've got a spot on any roster whatsoever. So any other things about the draft? I mean, for me, it was one of those things where I wasn't out of town. The only thing I was concerned about was what the Suns were going to do. Going back to the Bronny James, he got picked where he should have.
Yeah, he didn't go in the first round.
Yeah, end of the second round, and it is cool. It's really
cool. Yeah, I give him that. I just don't. There's a lot of people that got drafted that are better basketball players.
Yeah,
that didn't get drafted.
100%. You're right. But at the same time, like when it comes to the second round, at the end of the second round, like dude, we're taking flyers on anybody anyway. Like you're taking flyers on everybody. You're just exactly. It's a shot in the dark. So, and we talked about this when it came to Bronny when there was rumors about him coming to the Suns. If there's one thing, again, one discernible trait that a player has, he has an elite athleticism. Okay, if that's all you got. NBA teams are so good about training players and turning guys into something. If you've got elite athleticism and a hard work ethic, you'll be turned into something.
Yeah, but dude, he's barely taller than Nate Robinson, bro.
Well, here's the thing. When you talk about NBA guards, he is comparable to most every single point guard out there.
He's still shorter than most of them.
No, he's comparable. Because one thing to remember, I don't know if you know this. Maybe you didn't know this. I think it was probably 4 years ago. The NBA draft started measuring guys with shoes off at the combine. And before, it was always shoes on. So most of those guys' heights, it's about an inch and a half less. So he is, like I say, put shoes under him. And he's 6'1.5", add an inch and a half, now he's 6'3". You know what I mean? So it's like
Steve Nash height.
He's Steve Nash height, right? So I mean, like, he is comparable. And he's not considerably smaller than. It's not like he's, 6 foot or 5'11". Like he's, I'm not saying he's big, but I'm saying if he's going up against point guards, he can go up against point guards. And I say that also because Lou Dort, I always use this guy as an example, mostly because he played at Arizona State. He was a really good player then. He went undrafted, signed with the Thunder, and he's turned himself into a legitimate player in the NBA, a guy that every team wants. He's only 6'3". But the guy's built like a linebacker. Yeah. He's 6'3", 240, right?
It's a big boy.
But he's 6'3", and that's what he is. And he plays elite defense, and he's learned how to shoot the three-point shot. Everybody wants a guy like that. So maybe Bronny can do it. I'm not going to hold my breath. And again,
he's going to have to work.
He's going to have to work. 100% going to have to work. So nothing else on the draft?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, we're going to jump into free agency. And then we did get a listener that reached out that had a topic he wanted us to talk about, and we're going to I think we'll finish out the night with that one.
That works.
And I went real.
I see that.
So when he asked me if we wanted to talk about it, I was like, oh, I'll nerd out on this, and I did. Absolutely did. Because to me, the thing about certain sports, I think specifically basketball and baseball, that really lend to numbers it's so much easier to really define players because their statistics are so nice. You know what I mean? Like, it's so nice to just look at the stats and be like, okay, how does that stack up? Baseball is the best at it because the team sport rules have not changed for like 150 years.
Yeah.
They only recently started to change. And there was like by the smallest of margins.
They just changed the home run derby rules and people are pissed.
Dude, they change the home run derby rules every year.
I know, and they just changed them again. And it's like, why can't we just go back to 10 outs?
To me, it doesn't even matter. It's the
No time
stupidest
limit.
thing in the world.
No time limit, just 10 outs, dude. Just go back to tradition. I don't know why you got to do all this other crap.
For me, it's like, I just eliminate the All-Star break. I mean, give them the break. I don't care. Eliminate the game. It doesn't matter. I hate that we try to make it matter in all sports. The All-Star game is a waste of time. It's stupid.
Oh, well, it's because it's become nothing anymore.
Yeah, it's become nothing. I think the only thing that does, I mean, I'm a curmudgeon when it comes to home run derby because I think it's stupid. But as far as things that kind of do matter, like the NBA 3-point contest, it's cool, right? That's cool. Right. Dunk contest used to be cool. Yeah. Not cool anymore. Just a real big waste of time. The skills contest is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with we talked about this, the NFL. Screw the Pro Bowl. Screw the flag game. Let's do an NBA combine contest of the players out there. I want to see if Tyreek Hill can beat everybody in a 4-yard dash. Oh, I think it'd be awesome. Who's the strongest offensive lineman out there?
I'd love to see them pump up the 225 or how many reps. Who's got that top?
Yeah. I mean, those kind of things would be cool to see it.
Which they used to do. They used to pick the video of what's his name, Larry Allen, dude, repping out like 225, 40 something or 50 times at not the combine, at the Pro Bowl. You know?
Dude. Oh, that's just an insane amount of stuff. That was the offensive line for the Cowboys, right?
Yes, he was the left tackle.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just insanity.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's the same thing with baseball. Let's see how many home runs can be hit with 10 pitches.
But I like the home run derby. As I'm not a big baseball fan, but I do like, because what it does is, remember in my day, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire.
Dude,
right?
Say what you want about the steroid era. It was
phenomenal,
awesome.
Dude. Like,
was awesome.
I don't care. You wanted to watch baseball. You wanted to see those guys when they were at bat. You're like, here we go, because it was. I mean, they were going for the rule. Has anybody even broken their single season home run records?
No, Barry Bonds owns like every hitting record possible because, dude, when he was on the juice, he was literally unstoppable. It was, I mean, when I say this, it was an honest cheat code. He was a video game player at the end when he was on like 2001, 3, 4, and 5, like unstoppable. Hit 73 home runs in a season. He walked so often. I think his like at bat to home run ratio was like every 4 at bats he hit a home run. Because if you walk a guy, it's no longer an at bat. They don't count it as an at bat anymore, right? So dude, he was unstoppable at the end. Unstoppable. It was insane.
And they discredit steroids. It's so dumb. Just let everybody do it.
No, listen. My thing is, I think it's kind of dumb to discredit because at that time, everybody's using steroids.
Well, and there's still something to be said about hand-to-eye coordination, right? Like you still you have all the power if you want, dude. But if you're not swinging when you need to swing, so there's still some skill set there.
The thing that's hard, the only thing that's really a bummer for me, is Barry Bonds was one of the best players in baseball before the juice. Yeah. Like his eye for the strike zone was unparalleled. Like maybe Tony Gwynn was better, but outside of that, like we talked. You sent me that a little earlier about Tony Gwynn. Like
that's a crazy stat.
A legit hitter. Like the guy just hit the ball, just see ball, hit ball all the time. Anyway, we didn't mean to veer off into baseball, but steroid era was awesome. Yeah, that's what we'll end with that. But going back to the free agency, okay. The thing about the NBA that's always shocking to me every year, no matter how much I follow it, is the money in contracts in the NBA.
Realize they make that much money in the NBA,
dude.
Like the NBA makes that kind of money to do.
Oh yeah. Well, let me think about it. So one, they have 82 games to offer advertisers, right? So TV networks love the product that they have, the amount of product they have to offer. Plus, their playoff season is interminably long. Like it's like 3 months. Ugh. It's like the NFL regular season.
It's really long.
It goes on forever. So they have lots of product to offer advertisers. So that means a lot of TV money's coming in. And players obviously get a good cut of that money, the revenue percentage. And there's only 15 guys on a roster. So
there's not 52.
There's not 53 guys.
53 man,
and they have the G League, which is not a whole lot. I mean, we talked about that. Like G League players only making $40,000 a year, unless you're on a 2-way contract and other reasons. But just for an example here, okay, Jason Tatum, a great player, an All NBA player, in fact, got a 5-year extension. Last year they were talking about how Jalen Brown was going to get a $300 million contract. They're like, oh my gosh. Dude, Jason Tatum just got a $314 million contract extension.
$62 million a year.
$62.8 million per year average. That's insane. And the thing about the way I always do the average, but the contract's gonna end with him making $70 million a year because of the way they're tiered up. Like every year, it's just insane. Okay, and then Derek White, a rotation player. He's a very good rotation player. Don't get me wrong, very, very good. Every team in the NBA would love to have him. That guy gets a 4-year, $126 million extension. He's making $31.5 a year. $31.5 a year.
I should have been a basketball player, bro.
I know. It's funny because remember we talking about when Christian McCaffrey got his extension for $19 million a year. Some guy's like, dude, my kid's not risking the NBA or the NFL and TTE to be making Tim Hardaway Jr. money.
Yeah, like, peanuts.
Just an insane less amount of money for an elite player in his sport.
And dude, his body after, like, he's right though. Like, I mean, dude, if you think about, like, you've seen Christian McCaffrey, him after a game, right, where he's got bruises all up his arms, and barely can walk and stuff, and I don't blame him.
And he gets after it the next week too.
But it's so much fun.
Football's awesome.
It is.
Totally is. So Nick Claxton. With
these are what's weird. Some of these names on here, you're like,
you don't even know who they are.
Like, but you're making $100 million a year, or $100 million a contract.
Yeah, $25 million a year for Nick Claxton, a very good center for a team, the Nets, going nowhere. They're going nowhere. I don't even know why they would resign him unless they're just going to use him as a trade chip. But he's not even a player that's going to get you 20 points a game. He's not.
No. And you're going to pay him $25 million a year to not get
25 million a year. Yeah, dude, Nick Claxton, good for you, man. You better believe him, his mama, his grandmama, all of his extended family,
future kids, like
everybody. And the guy's he's like 24 years old. $100 million coming his way. All right, so then the next, we already talked about this. Klay Thompson, 3 years, $50 million to go to the Mavericks. Now, the thing about Klay Thompson is his best years are long gone.
Well, because after his ACL or Achilles.
ACL and Achilles.
Yeah, he's still a player, but I think he'll come off the bench and be kind of an old school guy that can still light it up, and he'll give, maybe some Luka some time to breathe a little bit, which you're going to hate. But,
freaking hate it.
But
the worst part about it is Klay Thompson for the longest time was my favorite shooting guard in the NBA until, I always have this, like, there's my sons and then other guys. So
everybody else.
Exactly. So, yes, Devin Booker's obviously my favorite shooting guard, but you have to be realistic and say, okay, who's the best shooting guard in the league? For the longest time, it was Klay Thompson. The guy was an automatic three and an amazing defensive player, right? I still remember he scored 37 points in a quarter. Like, he's one of those just amazing players, had an amazing career with the Warriors, 4-time champ. The Warriors have already said they're going to retire his number, which they should. But once he came back from those 2 injuries, catastrophic lower leg injuries, right? Lower body injuries.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Those are huge. In basketball, that's huge.
He's not even close to the same player. Not even close. But you know what? If all the Mavs wanted to do was post up in the corner, hit threes, he can do that still. And another guy that got, $9 million per year. You even know who Najee Marshall is?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at that name. I'm like, I don't know who he is, but he's making $9 million a year.
He's making $9 million a year. And if you're in the NFL and you of our team signed a guy to $9 million a year, you'd be like, dude, that guy must be a really good player. Najee Marshall is 100% rotation player. That's all he is. Like, he's a depth guy. And I can't believe this, that Tobias Harris is still a guy that can make over $25 million a year. The Pistons, again, a team going nowhere. Just signed him to a 2-year, $52 million contract.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
A team that just won 14 games last season. What are they even doing? What's the purpose of signing a guy for that?
I don't know.
I mean, good for Tobias. Good for him to go back and he's been in Detroit before. Good for him to go back and make that cash. The Nuggets did what they should. They extended Jamal Murray.
Of course.
A guy that doesn't play a whole lot in the regular season, but is a great postseason player.
Yeah, he does really well.
So he gets $209 million over 4 years. And then the Knicks go and do something that I think is crazy. This is the one I actually will really put the numbers on because as good a player as OG Anunoby is, who is a terrific defensive player, they gave him a 5-year, $212.5 million extension, $42.5 million a year, for a guy that has only been able to play 72% of the games in his career. 72.3% of possible games OG Anunoby has been able to play.
Yeah, but there's got to be some kind of stipulations in these contracts where you got to play so much percentage to get the full amount.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
See, I feel like as an owner, I would do that. Like, I'd be like, listen, we're going to pay you, bro, but if you only play 25%, you're only going to get 25% of the money. Like, I need you to play.
Now, some contracts are incentive laden. Usually you're getting that with old players, right? Like a Chris Paul contract where, like, hey, the final year of your contract's not guaranteed or something to that effect. Like, we can waive you. It's a team option, blah, blah, blah. But most of these contracts we're reading, they're 100% guaranteed. Now, there's some incentives you can get. Like, let's say if OG Anunoby makes it to a first-team All-NBA, right? He can get a bump in his contract total.
Right. Which is normal, right? Those are just incentives to be better.
Right. But, dude, he's only played more than 67 games 3 times since his rookie year. That's the minimum to be able to get an award. You have to play at least 65 games in a season to be named to an all-NBA team. If he stays healthy, it's a good move for the Knicks because they went and traded for Mikal Bridges in probably the biggest trade I've ever seen in my life. The most draft picks ever sent out. 5 first-round draft picks for Mikal Bridges.
For Mr.
Iron
play
Man.
Every game.
Yeah, Iron Man. And which, again, is a good thing because OG Anunoby, he ain't going to play that many games that season. So they're going to have Mikal playing all the time. Good for Mikal, dude. I say it.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan. I wish we never got rid of him. So good for him.
Really bummer to me to see him go to the Knicks because that really just axes out the possibility of him ever coming back to the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be going. He's playing with his boys. Everybody on the team basically is from the Villanova championship team that he played with.
Yep.
So, I mean, they're all his buddies still. So, goodbye, Mikal. Wish you luck. Loved you there. Loved you here, man. But anyway, OG Anunoby's getting paid for something that I really hope works out for him. And then, going back to just the weird things here. Isaiah Hartenstein, a guy that played for the Knicks. He was the guy, did you see the Instagram interview? There's a reel where he's talking about how he's like, there's light-skinned brothers and then there's ultra-white-skinned brothers. His dad's black.
They're sitting on like couch and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's white as snow.
Whitest guy you've ever seen in your life. And his last name's Hartenstein.
Yeah.
Like, that guy sounds
his dad's black guy. And you're like, what?
Yep. He's getting $29 million a year to go to Oklahoma. Oklahoma City signed him to a 3-year, $87 million contract.
Is Aaron Wiggins, was he there? Is he just an extension, or is he? They pick him up from somewhere else?
I think he has to be an extension because normally you don't get a 5th year unless you've been with that team. So, but dude, 5 years and $47 million for a guy, again, a rotational
He's been around
player
for a long time too.
Not Andrew Wiggins.
Aaron
Wiggins.
Yeah, different
guy. Yeah, and then Isaiah Joe, also a returning Oklahoma City Thunder player. 4 years, $48 million, 12. He's a rotational
Most
guy.
of these guys are sitting on the bench making $12 million a year.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, hey, cool. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like, you're making like $80,000 a paycheck, $80,000 a game, or whatever it is, or $30,000 a game. Like,
dude,
cool. I mean,
just an insane amount of money. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope goes to the Magic. He is a really good role player for the Nuggets. This just made the Nuggets a lot worse, in my opinion. Over the last 2 seasons, the Nuggets have lost key role player guys on their team. KCP's one of them. I don't know that I would have ever paid that guy $22 million to be a role player on my team, but that's what Orlando did for 3 years. Jeez. And then the 76ers truly have been, in my opinion, probably the biggest winners of the free agency so far. They got Paul George, who opted out of Los Angeles.
LA, yeah.
You want to talk about like sad facts, and that is the Clippers never did anything with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And James Harden. Chris Paul wasn't there when those guys came, right? But never did a thing with them because Kawhi Leonard was always hurt. And Paul George had to carry that team by himself most of the time. And he wasn't good enough to do it. But he gets a 4-year, $212 million deal. I think he's 34 years old, by the way.
How do your knees play that many games?
I don't know, dude. And do you remember when he had that crazy injury where he broke his leg up against the basketball stanchion?
Like underneath it?
Yeah. Like just a terrible leg injury. Okay. So I think he's 34 years old. Somebody's going to have to look that up. I don't remember. But he's going to be paid $53 million a year into his late 30s.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is.
I just can't understand it. And he's probably not going to play that long. He'll probably get hurt.
I know. So when we were talking last week about Trevor Lawrence getting a 5-year, $275 million contract extension, dude, he is barely making Paul George money, and Paul George is at the end of his career.
Yeah. That's insane. That just shows you how much money that the NBA makes.
Yeah. I mean, Tyrese Maxey, a good player, is going to be making nearly $41 million a year over the next 5 years. Kelly Oubre Jr., again, role player, rotational guy.
He's making a cool $8 million a year.
Yeah, for the next 2 to stay in Philly. It is. It really is. And I think the 2 biggest eye-popping, oh my gosh, those guys are making that kind of money contracts is Emmanuel Quickley, former point guard for the Knicks, traded to the Raptors in the OG Anunoby trade. He's going to be making $35 million per year over the next 5 years for a total of $175. That Emmanuel Quickley was a backup point guard, by the way, before he went to the Raptors. And then Scotty Barnes, I can't remember the name of the coach of the Raptors, but who said this is the future face of the NBA. Let me tell you what, the rest of the NBA does not agree. But Toronto certainly believes in him because they just signed him to a 5-year, $270 million contract extension.
I just can't. I just don't understand.
No, dude. He's $5 million away.
We need to get the NBA to get on our podcast. We need to get on NBA podcast. They got NBA money, bro.
I would love it.
We got to figure that out. How do we get that angle,
just
bro?
Let me get in there and just talk about these
Can
guys.
we just get the league minimum?
I would kill for that, dude.
Right?
Listen, who do I need to murder for the league minimum?
How do we get there? Like that's fine. We could do that.
Oh, crazy, man. And then I'll talk about the Suns. You said that we signed Mason Plumlee to a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
And then we re-signed Royce O'Neal to 4 years, $44 million. I think that's one of those things where, again, we talked about the money these other guys are making. Royce O'Neal is a good role player. We couldn't not sign him because we are so strapped with that second apron where there's only so much that we can do. We had to re-sign that guy, even if he's an okay player. Because he is. He's an okay player.
He's an okay player. He's all right.
He's not an amazing player. He's okay. So, anyway, that is the recap of the guys that I thought needed to be talked about. We didn't talk about all of them.
No, you pretty much hit all the important people. The big ones that are, some of those you're just like, wow. Wow.
Yeah, dude. The big, like, just eye-popping things like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that guy's making that kind of money. So, before we get into the next topic, we're going to take one more break here. You got a house that needs to get painted. You got some scratches in the walls. Maybe the exterior paint's a little bit faded because of our awesome sun here in Arizona. Well, I have got a fantastic suggestion for you. What you need to do is you need to reach out to Kellen Brady at Brady Painting Services. I'm telling you right now, they are top-notch, first class. They get the job done right at a great price. Kellen is just the best when it comes to his customer service, his communication, his professionalism. And the best part about it, let's say if you're getting ready to sell your house because you're moving on to bigger and better things, Kellen Brady will not only paint your home at cost, but he will also sell your home because he also is a licensed realtor in the Arizona state. So what you need to do is you need to reach out to Kellen Brady at Brady Painting Services. Phone number is 480-310-1767 or email them at bradypaintingservices@gmail.com. That's all one word, no numbers, no spaces, no hyphens. Brady Painting Services @gmail.com. And once again, that phone number is 480-310-1767. I'm telling you right now, Kellen will take great care of you. Brady Painting Services. All right, so we had a listener reach out to us and ask us to talk about this specific topic. And all you other listeners out there, if you've got something you want us to talk about, throw it our way.
Let us know.
Yeah, and I promise we will do our best to talk about it, okay?
Yeah,
some
Eric
things
will nerd out, especially if it's kind of stats related or something like this.
If we're talking about ranking someone on a list.
There'll be an Excel spreadsheet.
100%. So the request was to talk about Kevin Durant. Where does he rank all time, and do we think he is deserving of that rank? Okay. So a couple things to talk about when it comes to Kevin Durant. No one denies Kevin Durant is a great basketball player. One
not at all.
One of the freakiest of basketball players, right? When you're talking about a guy
7'1",
yeah,
point guard,
200 pounds.
Yeah,
is he 200?
I don't even know. He's victim weight for sure.
Exactly. But the guy is a freak when it comes to the game of basketball. Okay, I got him on a list right here. He is 8th all time in scoring. Okay, all time. That means the total points he scored over the course of his 16, 17-year career. I can't remember how many years.
I still can't believe he's been in the year that but I mean, we are in 2024. Like, yes. I still feel like we're in 2012. You know what I mean? Like, I can't get over that. But yeah,
and he was a part of the 2007 draft class.
Yeah, like I mean, I remember watching him play at Texas. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, so like I still go back to that. I still can't believe he's been in the league. That just means we're that old, bro.
We are that old, dude. And Kevin Durant is. He's 35 years old. Ugh. Right? He's an older guy, and especially in the NBA. And it's still playing at an all NBA level. Right? He was named, I think it was the 3rd team all NBA or 2nd team. Meaning he's one of the top 15 players in the NBA. He's 35 years old. Okay. Here's a list of other guys, active players, and where they rank on the all-time scoring list. Damian Lillard is 41st. Chris Paul, surprisingly, is 36th.
But he's not a scorer.
He's not a scorer.
Like, he's never has been. Like, I've never, he has a jump shot, but you don't look at Chris Paul and say, hey, he's going to score us 50 points tonight.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
You think he's going to get 16?
Yeah. He's going to have 20 assists maybe. Yeah. I would take that bet over him scoring 50 points in a game.
Exactly. 100% agree with you on that one. This one is surprising. DeMar DeRozan is 31st all-time in scoring. Now, I know he's been a scorer, but for some reason, he just does it so quietly, you just don't think about it, especially when you consider the guy he's directly behind is Steph Curry on 30th on the list of all-time scorers. So these are just active players we're talking about.
And Steph Curry's only on there because of how many threes he's hit.
Exactly.
It's got nothing to do with, I mean, he's hit some twos, but like he would not be where he's at if it wasn't for the amount of threes he's put up and put
the devastating three-point shooter.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, people talk about him as the greatest shooter of all time. There's going to be some conversation about that, but he is definitely in that list, okay? And then, would you believe it, Russell Westbrook, 24th all-time scoring. He is a better all-time, scorer goes, all-time scoring, than Steph Curry. Like a guy that's known for scoring.
But how long has Russell been in the league?
I want to say Russ came in 2008.
I was going to say, and Steph Curry didn't come in until...
I think it was 2009.
What?
Yeah, hold on a second now.
I mean, I honestly don't know. You could be absolutely right. It just feels like he's not that old in the league.
No, and you're right about that. But one thing about Steph that's different than Russ is Russ has been incredibly available. Like he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
And so like the thing about Russell Westbrook is he was always available. And early in Steph Curry's career is he got hurt quite a bit.
And I feel like with Steph Curry, bro, like I remember watching his little skinny butt running around at Davidson.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Looking like a freaking child.
In March Madness, looking like a child, yeah.
Yeah. So, he came in 2009, and Russ was 1 year before. Yeah. Just a really big difference in just availability between the two guys. And that's why Russ is so high on that list of all-time players. And also that, like, dude, we all know, Russ, he ain't never seen a shot he doesn't want to take. That's the thing about that guy, dude. He loves to shoot the ball.
Of course he does.
I remember when they were playing, when Kevin Durant and Russ were on the same team back in Oklahoma City. Constantly, every time in the playoffs, they're like, dude, Russ, pass the ball to Kevin Durant. He is the better option. Nope, wouldn't happen. But, whatever. He done what he can for his career, so that's what matters. James Harden, 20th.
Yeah.
And then we go all the way to 8th, and there's Kevin Durant, a guy who missed an entire season because he tore his Achilles, and most of the next season. He's still 8th all-time on that list of players in scoring. And then obviously number 1, LeBron James.
Yeah.
But,
when you played for 40 years, you should be number 1.
So, I mean, that's the thing. You need to consider that is the fact that LeBron James has been so durable and so consistent and played in the league for so long. Same thing for Kevin Durant. He's been in the league for, I think he's been 16 or 17 years. I can't remember exactly.
And what's interesting is when you have your stats up here with Kevin Durant is over a 16, 17-year career, you're talking he's a 50% field goal shooter.
Yeah.
That's why he's number 8. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's not a 30% field goal shooter. He's half of his shots are going in over his career. That's insane.
His career numbers, shooting percentages, he's almost a 50-40-90 career shooter. If you guys know what that means, 50% field goal percentage, 40% three-point percentage, and 90% free throw percentage. His actual career numbers, 50.1% from the field. So every shot taken, layups, jump shots,
three-pointers, everything.
50.1%. 3-point percentage, 38.07%.
Which is still really high.
Really high.
That's more than 1 of every 3. That's like almost 1.5 of every 3 shots.
Yes.
Like that's pretty dang good.
That is an elite number. And then career free throw percentage, 88.4. That efficiency with which he scores, to me, is unparalleled. Like the guy, you want him to take 20 shots a game. He doesn't.
And dude, historically, especially back at that time, right? Who was the 7-footer that's terrible at free throws?
Shaq.
Exactly. So, like, when you see a guy come in who's a 7-footer, which I think they've really curbed that. Whatever the problem was with Shaq being a 7-footer and not being able to shoot a free throw, every other 7-footer that's come in has not been that bad.
No, never.
But like how
Ben
they've obviously
Wallace
fixed that. Well, but Ben Wallace, was he a 7-footer?
He's 6'9", but he's a center.
But yeah, so but for a 7-footer, you've got a guy shooting almost 90% from the free throw line, and if you think about how long he is, he's almost shooting down at the hoop when he extends
when he
up
gets
to shoot.
up, dude.
When he's up here shooting, he's almost shooting down. So it's like, man, that's crazy.
Like the efficiency with which Kevin Durant. Now, if you were to take out his size, just think of a guy. Just say he's 6'4", right? He's a point guard. That efficiency is still an insane.
Yeah.
Now, add the fact that he's a 7-footer.
Yeah.
The dude is shooting 38% from deep, nearly 90% from the line, and 50% from everywhere. Like, his efficiency is unreal. It is unreal. Okay. Couple of the negatives, though, and this does play into his longevity in the league, right? So if you think it was a guy playing this many years, he would be much higher when it comes to assists, rebounds, steals, and blocks. Now, for just active players, so we're just talking about guys that are just in the league right now, and you consider, again, he's been in the league longer than most of the entire league, outside of guys like Chris Paul, LeBron James, and let's see who's still in the league since then. I mean, Jeff Green came into the league at the same time as him. Not many players are still in the league.
No,
like he is in rare air of guys still in the league from 2007. He's only 11th in total assists among active guys.
but it doesn't surprise you because he's not a passer.
I mean, his average is still almost 5 a game.
It's I know, but it's still not like
No, it's not his career.
That's not what he does.
Okay, so again, we'll give him a pass on that. But a guy who's also a 7-footer who's played forward most of his entire career is only 12th among active guys in rebounds.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be a little higher.
You think it'd be a little bit higher?
But again, he's outside shooter, perimeter stuff. He's never playing against the guys down low where they're. I mean, he does.
He plays some power forward,
but most of the time,
yeah,
he's outside. So those long rebounds are few and far in between. Like, you know what I mean? They're mostly right around. So it's a little different.
I know, but I'm just looking at the perspective of the guy's been in the league for so long. Do you think among total numbers, active guys? Because
active people, that's the kicker, and it is
just
definitely kind of disappointing.
Because if you put him on the total list, like he doesn't show up in the top 50 of any of these of all times. So and then again, steals and blocks never been a huge part of his game, but he's only 14th among active guys for steals and 8th for active guys and blocks. And he's a 7-footer.
And he is I wonder what his wingspan is.
Oh, dude, he's
it's
a freaking
more than 7
pterodactyl.
foot. Yeah, it's more than 7 foot.
Oh, the guy's insane on that. And this is also just kind of a product of being in the game forever, but he does average almost 3 turnovers a game. So he's, 18th all time in turnovers. All time. That's the thing.
If you get the ball a lot, you're going to turn the ball over a lot.
No, but that's the one thing I did notice the most when he came over to the Suns, because you always watch a guy a lot closer and with a much more critical eye when he's on your team, right?
Of course.
And he is so sloppy with the ball sometimes. Like, makes some of the sloppiest passes this past season. And that was the one thing I did notice when he first came over to the Suns. It was like, dude, has he always been this sloppy with the ball? And again, I think his career, it's 3.2 turnovers per game. And for a non-point guard, that's a considerably high number, right? And especially if you're only getting 4.4 assists on your career, that's a pretty terrible ratio.
It actually is a really bad ratio.
It's a really bad ratio.
You're almost 1 for 1.
Yeah, almost, yeah. And that's
not good.
terrible for a guy that handles the ball that often. So, but anyway, his career average of 27.3 points per game is like, you say that sometimes you have a higher season and a lower season. Dude, he is pretty consistent with that number. Pretty consistent.
That's a high number, dude.
And 7 rebounds. 7.0 rebounds per game on his average career. So, again, there's a lot more numbers here I want to talk about here. We good for this? You good for these numbers?
Yep. I can see them. You're fine.
One word answer right there. Okay,
Yep.
20th all time among players with at least 500 starts in effective field goal percentage. Now, effective field goal percentage is a stat that, quote, adjusts for the fact that a 3-point field goal is worth more than a 2-point field goal, unquote. So basically it's saying like, hey, if we take all of your shots together, obviously a 3-point's worth a little bit more. So we're going to adjust these stats a little bit. And you consider this guy's going up against centers like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaq. DeAndre Jordan's a perfect example of this. Guys that only dunk. Like
they don't shoot threes.
They don't shoot jump shots. They are right there at the rim. So all those guys in the history of the NBA, he's 20th. That's an insane effectiveness. Like his scoring,
it's a 55% effectiveness when you factor in the adjustment.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It is. Because, again, we're talking about a guy who shoots from all over the court.
Again, yeah, you're making more than half your shots. Like, yeah. and if you've ever played basketball, I mean, if you've ever played, like, if you can literally, no matter where you are on the court, you're throwing up every other one is going in. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah, dude. If you're playing pickup and you got a guy you pass him the ball every time.
Yeah. You're like, bro, go ahead, take it. Because if you're going to, 55% of the time you're making it, which in basketball is huge.
It's a huge number. If a team shoots 55% from the field over the game, that's an automatic win.
They won by 30.
You know? Exactly. That's an insane good number right there. So, and that's his career. And he's 14th all time. This is kind of more of a nerd stat because I think this is one of those numbers like in baseball, they call it WAR, wins above replacement. Like how much more wins are you going to get with this guy versus an average level replacement? But in basketball, they call it win shares. It's an estimate of the number of wins contributed by a player. So, like, take this guy off. How many wins are you getting with this guy on your team versus a average replacement guy? And 14th all time. He's 14th all time with 170.2 win shares. That's kind of, again, that's one of those deep stats that not many people are really going to consider. I throw it in there because it's kind of important to know.
So, essentially, are you saying that basically out of the season, you've won 10 extra games just because he's on the game?
Just because he's on your team.
In his career.
Yeah.
Just because he is literally on the court, you're going to win 10 extra games.
He's that much better than the average guy.
Good.
So, the average guy comes onto the court, you're going to win 10 less games per season, right, than you would with him.
KD.
Right.
Yeah. And
the all-time guy, you got to guess, and the all-time guy was most win shares for anybody else. He's currently playing.
Oh, LeBron
James. LeBron James.
When you've been in the league for 40 years.
And not only that, but when you also consider the teams he started his career with, which were just awful teams that he was dragging to the finals, like that's going to play into consideration.
No, for sure. Right?
So all of that is to say, we threw a whole bunch of numbers out there. Where do you think you would rank Kevin Durant all time? That's a big number.
So you have one here, the NBA 75 team. I think he's a top 75 player of all time. When you start to really break it down, I mean, we did that draft, right? The 2000s draft, and a lot of players were great in the 2000s, right? There are some that were considerably better than the ones now, right? But I think top 75, when you look at his numbers, you're talking over 50% shooting. Like, come on, I don't know if he's top 10. Like, I mean, when you start thinking about how. But the numbers really don't back that up, right?
Yeah.
When you start thinking about the greats, the Larry Birds, the Magic Johnsons, the Michael Jordans, you could probably argue Scottie Pippen,
LeBron James.
Of course, LeBron James. So now we're already at 6, right? So he's not going to be top 10.
And we haven't even talked about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
right?
You didn't talk about Kobe Bryant,
right? Bill Russell. You're talking, There's so many people there. Now we're at 10. See, now we're at 11. You know what I mean? So he can't be top 10.
So I looked up just because I wanted to see, okay, how many guys out there have actually done this ranking. And in multiple publications, he was 13th all time.
13th? It's respectable, but it's low. It should be not.
You think it's low?
No, I meant it's lower than it should be. He should be up there. You
think so?
No. I'm saying it backwards.
Okay.
I think he should be 25 to 30, not 13. Sorry. So it's low, meaning he shouldn't be down that low.
It's a really high number, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a really high. Yeah, so we're just flipping it backwards.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying. So
yeah.
I kind of agree with it.
Do you?
I kind of think of it's. He's only been an MVP once, right? So, but so is Kobe.
Right.
I don't hold that against Kobe.
Kobe played in a different era.
He did. When it's one of those things where if I were to compare Kobe Bryant we had that comparison with LeBron James.
Right.
They play in the same era. Yeah, I think LeBron was better, so the MVP is there. But I still get Kobe and say he's still a top 5 player all time to me.
Yeah.
Right. So one MVP doesn't hurt him in my ranking.
I think just getting an MVP in a league solidifies you as one of those players. Okay, you can be argued for somebody that's one of the greats.
Yeah. And not only that, but you can also look at the list of MVPs and be like, bro, that guy was an MVP? Yeah. And it can almost diminish the value of having MVPs, right? So, I mean, kind of dismiss that. But a 2-time finals MVP where he was clearly the best player on the team. Clearly. Even when he was playing with Steph Curry at the height of Steph's powers. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, you're having a guy playing with a guy who was he's an all-timer in his era, right? Steph, because he's definitely an all-timer in the 2010s.
Oh,
Steph
for sure.
Curry. And you look at Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant came onto the team, and he was clearly better. Now, I got to say this, dude. And I said this at the time, and I stand by it. The softest move in NBA history, in my opinion, is when Kevin Durant blew a 3-1 lead against the Golden State Warriors, and in that offseason, signed with the Golden State Warriors.
Hey,
just the softest move ever.
It doesn't matter.
It was one of those things where, like, I can't beat him, so I'm going to join him. Like, the ultimate can't beat him, so join him.
If you're not first, you're last, bro.
It was one of those things that hurt me so bad because I liked Kevin Durant. That moment, freaking hated him. I'm like, this is the softest.
Well, and that's where, like, for me, that's what you like. Arguably the same kind of idea with LeBron, right? When he decides I'm going to build a super team in Miami, bro, ain't nobody ever done that. Like that, you started that whole thing. Now it happens like crazy, you know. And I can't blame him because if you want to win, I get it. But it's like you kind of just lose a little respect for the guy.
And I would argue that super teams have been a part of the NBA forever. Right, that's always been the case.
But people didn't go
they totally did.
Like who?
Charles Barkley totally did it with the Rockets. Clyde Drexler absolutely did it with the Rockets. I mean, it happens. It happens. 100%. But the difference, fair. I would say, the difference with LeBron James is he was clearly the best player in the NBA.
Yeah,
and he went and left the team that he had just taken to the finals. Again, a trash team, by the way. Left him and went down and joined. Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
And then said Chris Bosh come down too.
Who was also, I mean, was he a top 10 player in the NBA at that time? So it is different, but it's not so different.
Okay, I agree.
Anyway, but that's different. The thing that Kevin Durant did was he joined a team that had just set the record for the most wins in a season and was beating them in the playoffs, and because of his own poor play, lost the next 4 straight games to that team, and he joined them. He should have beat them and gone into the finals with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he didn't. So this is a huge knock on him to me. Now, I have kind of absolved him of that since he left and went to Brooklyn, tried everything he possibly could do in Brooklyn to make it work. It never did because the guys he took with him were the freaking biggest idiots in the world. Kyrie Irving couldn't have been dumber, and James Harden quit. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't knock Kevin Durant for that because the whole time he was in Brooklyn, the whole time he could play while he was in Brooklyn, he balled out. He absolutely did. Now he's in Phoenix.
He's just getting old, bro. Like,
he's 35.
He can't be a guy that carries your team. He needs the guy that helps your team.
Yeah, like he can still put up all the numbers.
He just can't be the dude. Like, you got to give him his rest. Like, you got to start giving him time. Like, I know, like, LeBron's an anomaly. We all know that. Yeah. You can't, like, that's not normal. So you can't use him as a go-by with the age thing because he's just different.
He is.
But you've got KD's a guy that can play quality minutes, but he needs a rest, and you can't expect him to be on the court for 45 minutes a game.
You're right, because, I mean, when you look at it, Kevin Durant, this year was the most available he's been in forever, and he played 75 games, which is a crazy amount
but
for a guy that was his 35-year-old season. He played 75 games. The previous season, 47. Season before that, 55. Season before that, 35.
So where do you rank him in your rank? Do you think 13's fine?
I think...
See, I'm thinking like top 25 for sure.
Oh, he's 100% top 25.
But I don't know, like you said, we just named 11 off the top of our head. And you're saying he's in that 13?
Well, I said some names in there where I'm not totally sure that I really think that they are above him. Like I said, Jerry West. Jerry West's a great player. Would I put him above Kevin Durant? Probably not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I just named a bunch of players I think are really good that probably don't get a whole lot of love. And I don't know. I think he's... If I were to say that he's top 15, I think I'm safe in saying that. So I think 13 is probably a good number from guys that have really put in the work to get this list put together. But I mean, is he better than all time? Is he better than Chris Paul?
He's checked a lot of the boxes to make him one of those people because he's won a championship. He's won an MVP. He's been on all team. He's been like, so it's hard to say, no, he's not top whatever, right?
Yeah.
But so like Chris Paul hasn't won a championship. This guy has been so close so many times, and he just can't. And it's not his fault, but a lot of it has to do. I mean, dude, Like, Chris Paul arguably has jumped around from team to team to team trying to get there,
Speaking of which, signed a 1-year deal with the Spurs this year.
Spurs.
Which is kind of a crazy thing for him to do when you consider the fact that the Spurs aren't close. The Spurs aren't close to winning a championship. They were one of the worst teams in the league this year.
I know.
And he's going to be 40.
Oh, I was thinking, who picked up Zach Edey? But that was the
Grizzlies.
the Grizzlies. They picked him up because Jay Morant. With that, did you see the
John
little
Morant?
John Morant.
Yeah. Whoa! It's 100%.
I will knock you out.
Yes. But I mean, like, I don't know. I think that he deserves to be up there in the top 15 players. I think he does.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I just think when you start looking at people, he might get a little farther down the list, but not much.
So I'm just looking here at a list by the New York Times. The New York Times has him ranked number 13. And the guy behind him is Jerry West, 14. So I threw him out
who's
there.
15?
15, Steph Curry. I think that might be high for Steph.
Feels like that's high.
But you think, okay, he's right behind Kevin Garnett and Karl Malone.
See, I feel like
is he better than them?
I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. Is Kevin Durant statistically probably? I guess maybe, but because just the numbers are probably going to win those battles. Maybe that's. If you start looking at numbers, it's hard to argue with a lot of his numbers. I get that. We just talked about a whole bunch of them that are really impressive for a guy that's 7'1".
Yeah, say so. Okay, here's their number 1 through. I'll give you 1 through 12 to see if you think Kevin Durant belongs above any of them. Okay, Michael Jordan, no. Okay, LeBron James,
no.
Number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
no.
Okay, and this has been easy so far.
Yeah,
Bill Russell,
no.
Okay, easy again. Magic Johnson, no. Wilt Chamberlain,
no.
The thing that I hate on Wilt a lot because the era he played in.
Right.
He played against nobodies.
Yeah.
So I will say that somebody else is going to have to know more about that one to watch him and actually see the way he played the game. But I mean, the guys he played up against, whatever. Larry Bird, no, right? Shaq,
no,
definitely no. That was an easy one for me. Tim Duncan, he's not better than Tim.
Nope.
Here in Kobe Bryant, you think he's better than? No. Okay.
No.
Now here's where it gets a little bit different. Hakeem Olajuwon.
I still don't think so. I mean, I don't know, dude, because it's the different.
He played in the era of the center.
Yeah, just different. Yeah, like it's just how tall was Hakeem Olajuwon?
He's
like
7 foot.
So like I mean, but he was a traditional 7 foot center guy.
Yeah.
Like
I will say this: the thing about Olajuwon that to me clearly separates him is he was an amazing defensive player.
Yeah.
So I would say easy. This is one where someone has to tell me this, and that's Oscar Robertson.
I don't know who that
Oscar Robertson was the last guy to average a triple-double, and this was back in the 50s and 60s when he played, the Big O. Before Russ did it a couple years ago. And Russ did it 2 years in a row, averaged a triple-double over the season. So those are the guys ahead of him. I mean, whatever. And then the guys directly behind him, Jerry West, we said, Steph Curry, Karl Malone, Kevin Durant, Garnett, and Moses Malone, Julius Erving, and David Robinson. He's better than all those guys.
Yeah. I actually thought David Robinson would be one of the top 12.
And he may have been had he not joined the league so late because he was in the Navy. Remember the Admiral?
True, yeah.
I don't think he started playing until he was 24 or 25 in the league. So there's the difference with David Robinson was just longevity. And that's what Kevin Durant has over these other guys.
Well, yeah, and that's why his numbers are the way they are.
Yeah.
He's been playing for so long.
So I
don't know.
I do feel like
he's in a pretty decent spot when you read that New York Times list. I think it fits where he's at.
Yeah, and so when I say 13, I'm like I feel pretty confident saying he's top 15 overall.
Yeah.
And
Can't argue.
To think the Suns have a guy who's still playing at a crazy high level, and we just got swept out of the first round. So you do have to question, because we always paint the past with rose-colored glasses, right? We always look back at it with nostalgia and think things are so much better than they actually are. I think that's true of Kobe Bryant because he did have some absolutely horrible seasons on a team. They didn't win crap. The difference with Kobe was he had super high highs and won 5 championships in a very hard era to have repeats. So it's not, we don't dismiss those terrible seasons he had, win-loss record-wise, but we do have to recognize them.
No, for sure.
Kevin Durant has always been on a winning team. Like, outside of, like, the first year with Seattle Supersonics before they went to Oklahoma City, he's always been a winner. Total season-wise, like, win-loss record on the actual season at the end. But, I don't know. It's hard for me to rank Kevin Durant. Statistically, physically, he's a freak. in the sense that he said, we've said it a million times.
Yeah.
His efficiency at 7 feet is insane.
Yeah.
Score from any part of the court.
It doesn't matter.
He
can dunk. He can do everything you want him to do.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. He can play every position.
Yeah, and he has.
Yeah.
But what if I'm building a team? Is he
your starting 5? Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think I can think of a couple.
I think I'll pull him off the bench maybe later, like number 12. You know.
Yeah, so okay, here's the thing though.
He's on the bench for the playoffs where you got to go deep, bro. You know.
Yeah, if you're talking about all time, he's the 13th guy on the bench.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think when we get to doing the 2010s all-time draft, we'll see where he lands.
Yeah, because that's where he's eligible to be drafted out of.
Right.
Sure.
The 2010s, and then he's going to be, the current. So I guess we'll have to make a conclusion on that one. Because then, I like this idea. Let me throw this at you. Then, when we've done the next 2 drafts of basketball players, what we should do is then pool all those players that everyone has picked and do a new draft based on those guys.
Greatest of the greats.
The greatest of the greats.
Yeah.
And just say, all right, everybody rank them. Who do you think is truly the best
Pick
of all
your
these?
people now. This is your pool of people.
Yeah, I like it.
That would be fun.
It's going to be a good time. All right. Well, hopefully, listener, Dallin, I hope that we did you justice here, man. Because I nerded out a lot on that one. We went down that road
But
for
that
a
was
long
good.
time.
That's good information to have. And anybody not knowing who Kevin Durant really is, I think you got an idea. Like, I mean, you don't have to fully understand basketball statistics to know that every time he shot the ball, it went in 50% of the time.
55.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Effectively. Like, that's all over the court. So
everywhere.
Go out and shoot 10 shots that are like on the first block. You may not make 5 of them.
Exactly, dude. It's something that's easy to talk about and think that everybody does it, but truth is they don't.
No,
they don't.
And he's not a guy that's shooting layups he's a guy that you just put him on the elbow. If you took a normal person, put him on the elbow, and I'm talking like a pickup player.
Yeah.
He probably not making 5. He may make 6 out of 10, maybe 7.
I was going to say 5 out of 10.
Maybe, but this guy consistently is now, you throw in 3-pointers, you throw in all this, little jump shots, fadeaways, all this
runners,
stuff. Yeah, he is making
floaters.
half of his shots. More than half of his shots. That's impressive.
It is. It's really impressive. So we've got that guy in the Suns, and I still don't feel confident in our championship.
It's because we don't have a point guard.
You're right, dude. All the way back to the draft.
All the way back.
All right, guys. So we are going to have to take, I don't know when we're going to be able to get back to this. Maybe we have to go back to Monday, next Monday.
Are you in town Friday night?
I'll be in town. I'm not leaving town. I'm not dealing with the traffic out of town.
Friday night I may be free.
Okay,
so
we'll
we
figure
can
it out then.
maybe if you're available, I'm available. Maybe we can figure it out because I'm coming back on Friday afternoon or Friday morning, so I'll be back in town, and I have to be somewhere at 8:30 in the morning on Saturday. So
okay, all right,
I should be. Well, maybe we can do it then.
We'll talk about it, man. We'll communicate. So we had to do this one a little bit late, only because we had a scheduling conflict and prior engagements.
Yep.
But we'll be right back at it, trying to be as consistent as we possibly can. But it's the summertime, and there's going to be a lot of in and out stuff.
That's right.
So, all right, all you cheese bags, stay fresh.
And like fat kids in dodgeball, we're out. The JJ and Puck Show theme song is written, composed, and performed by Lane Hartman. Thank you to Highland Communities for the support of our show. You can find the JJ and Puck Show on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and anywhere you listen to your podcast. Just Google us if you're confused. Remember to share the show with your friends and family. Subscribe wherever you listen. Buy a shirt, reach out to us, and place an order. Each shirt is $20, and if we can hand deliver it, we will, but if we have to ship it, it'll be $25. If you're able, feel free to support us by sending a donation to us by going to kfo.com/the JJ and Pug Show. That's ko-fi.com/the JJ and Pug Show. And thanks again to all who listen. We really appreciate your support for our show, and we hope to continue to grow.